Here with head coach Brad Laird, Demons heading to Alcorn after a tough opener at North Texas with some bright spots, Coach, and those are the things you look to build off of as you head from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, after going back and evaluating the film in all three phases, we did. I mean, there's some things that our guys did really well, and which was exciting to see week 1. The things that we, the mistakes that we made are things that we have the capabilities to improve on, and that's what we look for from week 1 to week 2. Continue to do the things that we did well, but also correct the mistakes that we made. The good thing about they're all correctable, and that's we look forward to this week of practice as we get ready for Alcorn.
One thing we heard so much, and with his performance in the spring, it was rightfully so. Scooter Adams was obviously the guy that's going to lead that backfield, but I think Saturday one of those things was you saw this team, this running game is not just going to be Scooter Adams. It's going to be he may be the lead guy, but there are a lot of guys capable of making big plays in that backfield.
Yeah, and it starts with Scooter. I mean, just the way he approaches practice. What he did the end of last spring. He's continued to move forward with that, but he'd probably be the first one to give the O-line credit. Did a great job up front against a good defensive line, and then you saw some other guys that stepped up, able to run the football. Aubrey Scott not being available this past week, but a Curtis Williams who just kind of waited his turn, and when the opportunity presents itself, he always shows up. And Kevin Perkins having his first carries for Northwestern State, and Trevor Morgan there at the end of the game. So really like that room, and that's minus one guy with an injury, but it starts with Scooter. He's the bell cow of that room.
And Bryce Dealey, another guy that first carries, had a 22-yard run. So I mean, he's a guy that kind of came on during camp, kind of a late add that has proven to be a pretty nice depth piece. Yeah,
no doubt. I think what he earned the respect throughout camp. And he did it very quickly, as a true freshman that came here as a walk-on. Really like what he's been able to do early on in his career.
For you guys, you'll head home. Last week we talked about how many people from DFW this team has. You'll go a little closer to maybe one person's hometown. It's PJ Harrington, a Natchez guy, and he's kind of become maybe alongside Jaquay Pogue, one of the vocal leaders of that defense, and he's done it in pretty quick succession.
Yeah, you go back to his first fall here, not being able to play, so he had to wait till last spring, and what he was able to do through those 6 games on the field, but also in the locker room, and he's continued to expand on that, and has done a great job. Had a great game the other night, so for the opportunity for him to get a little closer to home, be around a little bit more family. It'll be a special night for him. We've got several guys, a Marquise Bridges that's from Mississippi, a Logan Kennedy that's from Mississippi. So those guys are going to have the opportunity to be able to get a little closer to home, maybe a little bit more family members to be able to watch them play.
And it's a trip you don't make often. Last time the Demons played in Mississippi was at Mississippi State in 2015. So even rarer that those guys get to play in a quote-unquote home game.
Yeah, and you look at this series against Alcorn, I think it dates back to 1983 and 1984. Played back-to-back years. Northwestern State won on the road at Alcorn. They turned around the next year and won here. So, it's a series that our guys really don't know much about. Those from Mississippi know a little bit about Alcorn. But, we're playing a football team, coming off a loss to North Carolina Central. But you look what they did back-to-back years in 2018 and 2019, winning their side of the SWAC. So a very good program that did not play in the spring of 21. They decided not to play, so they played their first game a couple weeks ago. First game they played in 400-plus days. So, just like they're looking to make the big improvements from week 1 to week 2, so are we, and we're excited about the opportunity.
No, there's one guy, you're early in the week, so you're kind of into film, but there's one guy on that roster I know you're very familiar with, and that's Seth Anderson. That's a guy that had a really good first week for Alcorn.
He did, and I did. I texted him after that game. It was good to see him back in it and having success and kind of doing what he did here, and so we root for him on other nights except when we play him. But it's good to see. I think he had 128 yards rushing, and so he'll be one that we have to do a great job of containing and doing a great job of tackling defensively when we have that opportunity.
The other guy, one of the other guys, is certainly Felix Harper, who's an all-SWAC quarterback and I believe Player of the Year last time they played a full season. So he's certainly another guy circled on that depth chart.
Yeah, he's he's a left-hander quarterback that's dangerous. And you go back to the last in 2019 when they won the SWAC. He actually didn't start playing until the second half of the McNeese game, and so once he took reins of that program, they really dominated. He did a great job leading them to the SWAC championship game. So yeah, he's one that can beat you with his legs, and he can beat you with his arm. He's a great quarterback and has great command of what they're doing offensively.
When you look at playing Alcorn, obviously you opened with North Texas, which is an FBS foe. This is your first chance to see yourself against an FCS level team. This kind of give you a pretty good measuring stick of where you think you'll be after week 2?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I think week 1 gave us a good measuring stick. We knew what North Texas was about. And so coming out of that, we kind of know where we are. And one thing we have found out as we go into week 2, it's more about us. It's going to be more about our execution in all 3 phases, our preparation throughout the week to be the best that we can be come 6 o'clock.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach.